We are at Roy Lupton's to see if everything is normal, just as it should be. Falcons, check. Orphan deer in cage, check. Year-old fallow doe in kitchen, check.
Well, no, the Lupton household never changes, does it? Apart from becoming slightly more bizarre. I always enjoyed reading about Gerald Durrell's exploits and escapades, and I feel that this household is turning into somewhat of a mirror image of my family and other animals, because we have now got 2 deer living in. Well, Cooch doesn't live in all the time now, she only comes to visit, and she's living out in the paddocks outside. But we've ended up with another fallow fawn as well. Again, another well-meaning member of the public picked her up as a fawn and brought her in. 99.9% of the time, the best thing to do is leave them alone, because the mother obviously drops them and then moves off and then comes back to feed them intermittently. Now, the unfortunate thing about rearing deer fawns is where they do tend to butt you to try and get milk. Yes, thank you. There's no milk there, darling. Now we've raised 2, or we're in the process of rearing the second one. It's unbelievable how very different they are in personality. Being a prey animal, you don't really credit them with being that majorly different in personality, but they certainly are. Cooch is a little bit unhappy at the moment. We just put a new piece of furniture in. It's just unnerved her a little bit, and she's not sure, and she didn't want to come past it. So again, you know, having or living around them and seeing what deer do and how deer react, it really is fascinating just how they do take different stimuli.
So that's his domestic deer taken care of. What about those birds? Most of his young brood has gone, but he does have a few still finding their lethal feet.
Most of the falcons have been shipped off now, so things are starting to quieten down, and it's about time that we went out and started creating a little bit of havoc with the fox population and maybe get out and do some stalking, hopefully. These 2 are 50-50 Albertus cross Finnish type goshawks, and they've got the white gene in them, so I'm very pleased with the way they've turned out. Once they molt out again, they should hopefully look even prettier. What I'm hoping to achieve is a certain wing beat. The mother of the hawk at the back there has got a very, very fast wing beat. She wasn't the smartest of birds, but she had a very, very good, fast, clippy wing beat, and was incredibly quick on wing game. So I'm hoping we might see those traits coming out in her. As soon as the game season starts, we should be out for some fun. This one is a young female Ger peregrine. David was asking a bit earlier, because obviously their heads are incredibly mobile, and when you see her sort of checking everything out, turning her head upside down and what have you, the reason their heads are so mobile is because their eyes are so large and they take up such a large proportion of their skull. The only way that they can get a proper look at things is to have a very movable or a very mobile head, so they can get a proper look and focus in on things.
Now, of course, we haven't seen him for a while, and he hasn't been out much, so he needs to get some stuff off his chest. Why don't you lie down on the Fieldsports couch, Roy, and tell us all about it?
Well, it is now time to don the hat again. It is that time of year that we start going out and hopefully accounting for all the foxes that we haven't accounted for the last few months. Now, obviously we've got quite a unique property here in that we've got lots of different things nesting. So instead of having the time to shoot this year, what I decided to try and do was supplementary feed. A lot of organisations and wildlife charities recommend supplementary feeding in a way to hopefully prevent predators such as foxes from eating all your ground nesting birds, etc. So I thought we would give it a go this year, because I don't think in life it's fair to discount any theory without giving it a fair chance. So every day throughout the breeding season, what we've been doing is we've been putting the waste food out for the foxes. But still, even though we have been providing that, we have lost more of our peacock broods and more of our duck broods this year than ever before when I've been up and doing fox control throughout the season. So it really just goes to show that it doesn't matter how much food and how much supplementary feeding the foxes are getting, it's still within their instinct to hunt, and it's still within their instinct to kill. And I suppose that's no different. I shouldn't be surprised really, because it's no different to, the pet cats that a lot of us keep indoors. Although they're being fed sufficiently, they still have got that hunting drive to go out and kill. And this is what we see. They are just still killing everything that they come across. because it's within their nature, it's inbuilt within them. Whether or not they're taking it away and stashing it, or whether or not they're taking it directly to their cubs to feed them, there was still enough food, or sufficient food and a varied amount of food to supply as many cubs as they could have reared, and yet still we saw massive losses. And I think this is one of my main bugbears, especially, I've been watching, I was watching Spring Watch earlier on in the year, and when you see a reserve, as the RSPB have got, trying to preserve the avocet, which is one of their premier species, as it features in their logo, in their emblem, and yet still an organisation like that is still happy to sit back and allow blackback gulls, I'm not sure if they were greater or lesser blackback gulls, predate to such an extent that the avocets didn't fledge a single chick. Bearing in mind that was, I think, 20%, I think it was 10 or 20% of the breeding the national breeding population of avocets there, and they didn't manage to fledge a single chick. And again, it just, I find it very tiring. Time and time again, you're seeing organisations like this that have got a non-interference policy, and I'm afraid this is what we're going to see, just catastrophic failure time and time again.
OK, time for some therapy. We are literally 200 metres from his aviaries, and a quick speculative squeak brings 3 sets of eyes charging towards us.
Oh my God, there's 3 coming.
3?
Yeah. Well, that was quite interesting. We just started off on the field opposite, and straight away we've got 3 foxes coming to the call. No, we'll just turn round, get in a position where we can take a shot, and hopefully account for the first one of the evening.
Tonight he's using his rebarrelled 22-250 and the Dronepro 15x night vision, which we can also film through. It's fast and furious, but 3 foxes in 10 minutes is probably going to help Roy's rehab.
I was surprised they came in this time of year that well to the squeak. It's normally another few weeks, but obviously they're very far advanced with the amount of peacocks and ducks that they've been eating. But we also forget that the real damage they're doing to some of the less visible animals that are out there, so the amphibians and the reptiles, and they will just eat anything. It's not just a benefit to the game shooting, it's not just a benefit to farming, and it is a benefit to all other wildlife, all the ground nesting birds, etc. So it is a very important job.
After that great start, we head to gamekeeper Gary's shoot to see what some freshly cut grass fields will bring. We have a cub 50 yards away from us. Our final fox of the evening falls to Roy. So, a wonderful evening's foxing, and Roy has started on the road to recovery.